When it comes to increasing your Helium HNT rewards, there are some things that affect your earnings that you can't control, such as the location that you live, but there are other things that you can control. So in this video, I've put together a list of the 5 best ways to increase your Helium earnings with things that you can control. And hopefully there will be at least one tip on this list that you haven't heard of before. So let's get started. Tip number 1 is to reduce invalid witnesses. You might not even know that this is happening, but if you think your earnings are lower than they should be, it might be because you're getting lots of invalid witnesses. One way to check if you have invalid witnesses is to look at your Helium hotspots on the Helium Explorer page. Then click on beacons and scroll down to see if you have any invalid witnesses. Then click on it to see what is the reason why you have an invalid witness. If it's because the witness is too close, there's nothing you can really do about that. But if it's because the RSSI is too high, then there is a way you can potentially fix this. What you need to do is go to the Helium app, click on your hotspot settings, click on Update Antenna, and change the antenna gain settings to a slightly higher number. This tip was found by the YouTube channel Crypto Mining and Trading. So if you want a more technical analysis and breakdown of how this can fix the issue, I'll include a link below to his video that explains this in more detail. And just for fun, check out this guy's antenna. If anyone has an antenna this big in their garden, then I definitely think they know what they're talking about. Personally, since I haven't got any invalid witnesses due to the RSSI being too high, I haven't been able to test this for myself. So let me know in the comments if you have this problem and if this tip worked. Anyway, speaking of antennas, you've probably heard hundreds of times by now that you need to upgrade your antenna. However, some have said that since the Proof of Coverage 11 update was released in December, it's no longer as important. But this is not true. A good antenna for your area is still really important for maximum Helium HNT earnings. So this brings me on to tip number 2, which is to upgrade your antenna. If you look at the top earners in your area, not only will you see that they will most likely be in a good location, which is high up, but they will also have a better antenna compared to the default one that comes with most hotspot miners. Now, it's impossible for me to say which antenna is best for you because it mainly depends on your location. For example, if you need to witness a lot of people far away, a higher dBi antenna is typically better. But if you need to reach a lot of people around you, then a lower dBi might be better. Whatever you decide to get though, in general, a higher dBi tends to be better than a lower dBi. And also you need to think about the quality of the cables that are going from your antenna to your hotspot miner. The better the quality cables, the less gain you will lose, and the more likely your rewards will be higher. And even if you have an indoor antenna, don't think that you can't upgrade it. For example, in my case, I have the Bobcat 300 hotspot miner, and I upgraded the default antenna to this indoor antenna that you can see on your screen. Now, to test if this antenna made a difference, I was mining using the default antenna for the first month and then upgraded antenna the second month. I noticed when doing this, earnings increased by about 20 to 30%. Since the antenna only cost about $60, for me, it was well worth the investment. And the great thing is that this is an indoor antenna, so it was super easy to set up and it still helped me get higher earnings. However, I plan on testing other antennas in the future to see if they work even better. Just keep in mind, if you're testing newer and better antennas, be sure to give it enough time to see how it affects your earnings for better or for worse. Tip number 3 is to improve your transmit scale. Now, something interesting I noticed on the Helium Explorer page is that many different Helium miners in the same hex can have different transmit scales. At first, I was surprised about this because I thought that the transmit scale for everyone in the same hex would always be the same, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So the question is, why are some hotspot miners' transmit scales in the same hex higher than others? And is there anything you can do to improve your transmit scale in your hex, especially if you have a lot of other people in your hex? Well, the answer is potentially yes. I say potentially yes because, again, it depends on where you are in your hex. So if you go to the website hotspotty.net, you can go and find your hotspot on the map. Now, I'm just using this random example, Silly Fleece Jaguar. This isn't my hotspot. This is just an example that I'm using for the sake of this video. You can see that everyone in this area, if we zoom out a little bit more, it's kind of hard to see, but there is like a little shape of a hex here, like a big hex. And all of these hotspots in this area are part of one location. And if we scroll down to the reward scaling section, you can see that in this area, there are 1,092 too many hotspots. However, if we zoom in into here, let me just find the location again. Where was it? Up here. So if we zoom in back to where we can see that this person is literally on the border of another location. So if we click here on this location to see this person's hotspot miner, we can see if we scroll down to the reward scaling, you can see that this one isn't as bad. It only has 5 too many hotspots in this area, which is why it has a higher transmit scale. So what you can do in the Helium app is if you are in this location right here, you could just move your hotspot slightly to the left over here, and then you would be in a different location with a different transmit scale. And that would help with your earnings. However, keep in mind, you can't move the location too far out, because if you did that, because of the Proof of Coverage 11 update, the witnesses that you get might not be approved. So you need to just make sure you're still in a fairly close area. This one is a little bit far out, but he could still move it here to the edge and he shouldn't have any problems. Obviously, you can test it for yourself and see what happens once you do this. Also, you don't want to game the system. You don't want to say you're over here and then say that you're all the way over here. But if you're already on the edge, like let's just say there was a hotspot right here on the edge, all he would have to do is just move it from here to here, and that could improve his rewards. So this might not be applicable to everyone, but it's worth checking out to see if you are on a location where you are on the borderline of another location which doesn't have as many hotspots, and then that could help improve your Helium rewards. To change your location on the map, all you need to do is go to your Helium app, and then go to your hotspot settings and then click on Update Hotspot. When you do this, you'll be able to choose your location on the map and pinpoint where you want your hotspot to appear. Finally, just keep in mind that your transmit scale does not affect how much you earn when you witness others. It only affects how many rewards you earn as a challenger and how many rewards others earn when they witness you. So this isn't the most important thing to improve your earnings, but every little helps. The next tip is to make sure that your hotspot isn't relayed and to make sure that port 44158 is open both ways. If you don't do this, this will significantly impact your rewards and how much you earn with Helium. Now, if you're not sure if port 44158 is open, there's a really quick and easy way to see if this is set up correctly. All you need to do is go to your web browser and visit portchecker.co, and then click on Use Current IP, and then type in the port number 44158, and then click on Check. If the port is open, you should then see a message that says port 44158 is open. This means everything is working correctly. If your port 44158 is not open, you'll need to research how to open this with your internet service provider. Every internet service provider works a little bit differently, so I can't specifically tell you how to open it in your situation. The next tip is to use Helium staking. If you're planning on holding Helium HNT for the long term, then you can stake HNT for additional rewards. Normally, to stake Helium, you would need 10,000 HNT for a validator, and at today's HNT price of $40, that would cost $400,000. Most people don't have that kind of money to stake Helium. So instead, what you can do is partake in a Helium staking pool and earn partial rewards. This way, there's no minimum to stake Helium, and you can start earning more Helium HNT on top of your existing HNT, and then whenever you're ready to cash out, you can claim your rewards at any time. There are a few different Helium staking websites that you can use, such as heliumstaking.com, and they each have slightly different rules, but like always, I recommend doing your own research to see which one will be a better fit for you. As a nice bonus, if the Helium HNT token increases in price in the long term as well, your HNT will also be worth more. I know a lot of people who staked their HNT last year were able to more than double their earnings because they didn't sell their HNT straight away because they were staking it. And then because the price of HNT increased, they also increased their earnings. And my final bonus tip is to increase your Helium HNT mining rewards by referring family and friends to set up a Helium hotspot and then splits the profits. There are a lot of people that do this already, and there's lots of different ways that you could set this up. So here are my tips if you want to do this. Number one, I recommend doing this with friends and family who are not familiar with crypto and don't want to go through the hassle of learning how it all works. Number two, I recommend making this whole process as easy as you can for them. So again, if you can, buy the miner for them and set everything up for them. Number three, once it's all set up, you can decide what kind of revenue sharing you want to use. Some people split earnings 50-50, others 25-75, Feel free to do whatever you think is fair for your situation. Either way, this should be a win-win situation. You win because you get to increase your earnings, and they win because they also get to profit without really having to do any work apart from letting you use their location so that you can put a Helium hotspot miner. Keep in mind that you can do this revenue share model not just with Helium, but with all kinds of plug-and-play crypto miners. And by the way, if you're watching this video and you don't yet have a Helium miner, it might be worth considering buying one on eBay. I bought my Bobcat miner on eBay, and even though I did have to pay more because I bought it on eBay, I didn't have to wait and I could start mining HNT straight away.